Good evening. This is Elizabeth Joyce with Let's Find Out. And I'm very excited about my guest, and I'm also excited about this week because two things happened this week that are extremely powerful. First, we have the fall equinox, and you'll learn about that if you listen to my Cosmic Contact today, because I explained the fall equinox. And second, Mercury goes direct. Finally, all the craziness and confusion that you've experienced since August 30th are now going to settle down, and we're going to get back to what's called order and regularity. And believe me, most of us thrive on order and regularity, even though we don't know it. Michael Russ is an international best-selling author. He wrote The Zero Adversity and also Real Hope for the Unemployed. And boy, do we need that in this political climate. The son of an Air Force officer and an educator, at age 20, Michael dropped out of college to go into business with his girlfriend. After achieving modest business success, she suddenly passed away. This event took his self-confidence and general doubts and gave that a shake. His whole life was shaken up, and I know because I had that happen to myself when I was younger as well. So his ability to achieve success would not surface until he came face to face with an amazing career opportunity several years later at the age of 26. Michael's life-changing moment happened when he realized his doubts about achieving success and lack of self-confidence stemmed directly from a deep-seated thought virus. Excellent. It would be difficult to succeed in life without a college degree. It was also at this point that he became acutely aware of the negative self-talk that he used that supported the thought virus, fed it, and doubts, and along with the doubts it was generating. What he ascertained was his self-talk was severely compromising his ability to succeed in his new career. To rectify the situation so he would progress, he vowed never to engage in negative self-talk, and then designed a specific self-talk process that supported his goals and intentions. You know, I studied with Louise Hay back in the early 80s, and we also learned about self-talk and setting conditions and doing affirmations. So she used to make us correct every negative thought with a positive one as we went through our day, which was an interesting exercise. Good evening, Michael. I hope you don't mind my comparing and talking about this whole process.
It's wonderful. I really do appreciate it, and I'm honored.
Well, it's wonderful for you to be here. Tell me how all of this started. What is zero adversity and how does it work?
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. Zero adversity is really a practical three-step method anyone can use to successfully approach, respond, and let go of the adverse events and circumstances that inhibit us from experiencing life on a higher level. I know you just mentioned the Mercury retrograde. That's going to be over, and all of the craziness, the irregularities and other things that people would experience as adversity. And this is a process that people can use to get through that.
Great. So can you give me an example?
Yeah, I'll tell you. The interesting thing about adverse events is that they happen to us all throughout the day. Everything from the slight sort of situation where you misplace your car keys and you're in a hurry to get to work, to something comes up with regard to your family, a family issue. When I was on my way someplace and on a trip, and I got a call saying that my mother had fallen. This was last year. That she had tripped over a piece of carpet and had broken her femur and was in the house for an hour and a half before emergency personnel could actually get into the door to get her to the hospital. You know, these are things that occur, and what zero adversity teaches you is to focus on what you can control instead of what you cannot. Forget about the how and the why. That isn't important. What is important is the what you can do right then and there, and that's generally manage your own thoughts, words, and actions.
And I call that taking an action. I had one this week, Michael, if I can share. I looked outside and my wonderful tree was starting to die. We've had triple digit numbers all summer.
Right.
in the weather. And of course, we can't control what happens. We can only do the action, do the watering, make sure that it's well nourished, and make sure that our yard is, the best we can do. But you are going to have losses. And I was really disappointed because I felt like I had done everything that I could. It took a little bit for me to get command of the situation and realize that I had to accept it. So then I started to look at the positive side. But that shock was so sudden because I didn't see it coming. The tree was green just 2 days ago. It was an incredible feeling.
Yes. Blindsided is what we get by on a daily basis. It's that's
true. I was blindsided.
Yeah, it's a beautiful example. And when you say I began to you came to a point of acceptance. And what zero adversity really is a three-step method that you can use to actually come to that point of acceptance quickly. And the more that you use it, the more you become adept to using it. And how when the really serious things happen, like this thing with my mother, then I basically said, okay, what can I do? I got on the phone when I got to my destination. I made a phone call to my sister who had been in contact with my mother. I found out the details there. And then I was able to, because I had an obligation previously that I needed to take care of. You ask yourself, do you just get on the plane and just go to her? Well, no, that wasn't necessary. Yes, my sister and brother were handling things until I could get there.
Rush.
Right?
You had time to adjust your life to embrace the new chore.
Exactly. And I just basically, I did what I could do. I focused on what I actually could do. And as soon as I was able to talk to her, which was the next day, because she was in an operation for most of the evening to repair her broken femur, I did so. And then I arranged to go see her, and everything was fine.
That's great. I know that with Louise, I learned that you can mourn or you can react however way you need to, because we all have to have permission to react in our own way. As long as you don't bring it out. We have 24 hours to accept, and then you have to take an action to work with what has happened. 24 hours to make amends, 24 hours to react to grief, and then some people don't need that long a time. They start thinking right away. But the best thing to do for me is to step back, take a deep breath, and say, okay, this happened, now what? And
Correct.
then it allows a space to allow new thoughts of positiveness and how to work through it to come in. Okay?
Correct. Yeah,
Now
I agree. 110%. That is absolutely perfect. Spot on. People do, in fact, react emotionally, and when they do, that does block their ability to move, to take positive action and move forward.
And there's two other things that block too. One is anger.
Yeah.
There is revenge.
Right.
They come in. So does jealousy.
Right.
And these come into people who I say are not enlightened yet. They
Correct.
do not understand that those things hurt them more than they hurt others.
Correct. Yeah. Blame is another big one that prevents people from moving forward, because that you're giving your power to the other, to the event, and in that case you are left hanging. And really, what you need to do is employ forgiveness in the many ways you can employ forgiveness with yourself and the event itself, and that really helps you get through it. And I'm sure that's something that you use all the time.
Now, Michael, we're talking to an audience. Some of these people may not really understand what we're saying. So let's go to the concept of somebody starting this for the first time. You cannot get into these practical steps seamlessly. You have to work your way into it, don't you? You have to understand that, I screwed up with that reaction. Well, I was better here. Well, I don't know how I did there. Isn't that true?
Well, you do stumble a little bit sometimes when you move forward. The 3 steps involved are perceive, respond, and let go. I attempt to keep it very basic, and when I say practical, it is very practical in terms of being
perceive
used, right.
First.
Perceive, right. You have a choice.
You realize.
You have a choice, yes, to how to perceive something, positive, negative, or neutral. And the quickest thing to do when things happen is to recognize that the perception you're having. This is where you heighten your level of awareness. The thing that we've spoken about before. You have to raise your level of awareness so that you understand that you have this choice to perceive. And when things happen, if you did lose your cell phone, instead of beating yourself up and going into a tantrum of temper and other things, that, hey, okay, let's just step back, like you said, and take a breath.
Okay, yeah.
And right, and what can I do? How can I perceive this? And this is where most people kind of waste a lot of time and energy. One of the biggest benefits of using this kind of program is that you save massive amounts of time and energy, and your attitude is also preserved. These are things that you want to employ to be happy. You want to have time for happiness and freedom, and you want to be fulfilled by what you do. But if there are other things that keep getting in the way, that's always a challenge. So
there are some people, and my family is some of these people, that panic. And they don't know what to do. They panic. How do you get beyond the panic?
I think, again, awareness is a huge word. What we're actually doing on this radio show is planting seeds of awareness about a different way to respond, to perceive and respond to events that happen in our lives. Nothing's going to happen absolutely overnight. However, if someone can simply remember just the fact that they can choose to positively, negatively, or simply neutrally perceive an event, and by this I mean you either say, okay, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, or it's, hey, this is an opportunity for me, or this is just something that's occurred. It has happened. I don't really need to dedicate my personal resources of time, energy, and attitude, my feelings and everything to this particular event. Every event, this is the issue. Events come and go, and there are dozens of them on a daily basis. We cannot expend all of our energy on each and every one of them in a panic. And
what people do, and what I was asking you is, how can we create them to start having a more positive inner conversation?
Oh, well, positive inner conversation. Well, again, awareness is a huge key there. You have to, the method I came up with for managing and mastering your inner conversation is discover, defy, and then redesign.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, discover. You have to discover what you're actually saying about yourself. If you don't know that, then there's no way that you can take the second step to defy it, as you were talking about or a little bit earlier about replacing a negative thought with a positive thought. Most people are really unaware of what they're actually saying. So when I expose the concept of inner conversation, it raises a level of awareness within them about their own inner conversation. Then they can take that next step and they say, "Oh, that's really not good for me to say that." And then I teach them in terms of the defy, to defy the negative self-talk.
To correct it.
Well, you have to.
You have to see it and understand it, because if you don't see anything, you never can heal it, Michael.
Right, exactly.
The second part, it sounds to me like you begin to say, oh, I'm not falling into my old pattern. I am going to create a positive thought. Even if I am safe, it's only change.
It's a point of recognition. You're recognizing it's a step in the right direction when you're recognizing that you are engaging in negative or unsupportive self-talk, a negative, unsupportive inner conversation. That alone is a huge step for many people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the next step
is design. And you redesign your self-talk by using 4 key different two-word combinations. I can, I have, I will, okay, and I am. I am being the most important, because it obviously, well, you know this because of you've been studying this for a while. Our listeners may not. I am states who you are and what is in the present moment of now.
Absolutely.
And so there are 2 of the most powerful words that you can use. I am confident. I am happy. I am beautiful. I am a beautiful, passionate, loving, and giving man. That's a statement I still use to this very, very day. I've been using it for over 25 years. as an affirmation of myself.
If you take a little bit of me and a little bit of you and put it together, we might have something, Michael. So you hear about your mother's fall and you go, oh, that must have hurt. Oh, I'm so sad, but I know she's in good hands. She's with brother and sister.
Correct.
This happened. Now what? I am going to. How does that sound?
Exactly. I am. The next move for me is I always think to myself, okay, what about this can I control? Like I can't control the fall. It's already happened. The operation is taking care of it and it's healing the damage. Now, what is my obligation going to be here? What can I do to help this situation? And that's the action that we want to take. That action is to go see her and to do it in a way of not just flying out there and saying, hey, how are you? It's coordinating with brother and sisters so that we can be there at different times when she's convalescing and actually move forward. And believe it or not, that fall led to a 4-month bathroom renovation.
Oh, wow, neat.
Because the bathroom would no longer be able to support the concept of a walker or a possible wheelchair. So I was
prepare for the next stage of her life. That's transformation.
Yeah, I basically, she accepted her situation and her and it's also understanding what someone's biggest fears are. Her biggest fear, being in her late 80s, was am I going to be able to live again by myself without in the need of convalescence or any other kind of help? See, that was her worst fear.
Right.
And I said, you will. And she says, I know I will, but you can still see that fear in the background there, right? So we make sure, I made sure I could do my part to make sure that she got in her house. And in February 1, she walked through the door of her house. She's been living there on her own, independent ever since.
She should have gotten a lot better February 1st till now. And I will say this, there is fear. We all have fear. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have fear if we're in a car accident, or we have fear if our child isn't doing well in school and we don't know what to do. There's so many examples of it. We have fear if we've been let go of a job and we have to create another job. But I love the concept of I am.
Mm-hmm. It's very powerful. It's very, very powerful. It's what's interesting is I think are the two words that I think that are second most powerful. And I tell people all the time, listen, when you're going through something, when you have a challenge, you're needing some action you need to take, just simply say, I can do this. Why not say, I can do this? Say it 100 times. Say it all day long. It builds confidence within you.
I have to tell you that sometimes when you say, I can do this, you get the shakes. Let's talk about that for a minute. So somebody's always been in fear, and they're trying to take Michael's concept. So they start saying, I can do this. And their inner voice says, oh, BS. Mm-hmm. I can do this. Well, one way to strengthen that is to look in the mirror and look right in your eyes and say, I can do this. This will all work out. I will do this. I am doing this. I can do this. And when you do that little trick, when you add that mirror image, it strengthens you so much faster.
Yeah. Don't forget, I have done this. I have done this. In terms of being in the moment, we obviously know that for manifestation, you have to be before, faith before evidence. You have to have that at present that you have done it in your mind. You don't tell other people, but you want to believe that yourself. And one other thing too, knowledge helps build self-confidence and helps move you forward. So if there is a situation that someone's in that they're fearful of, the best way to break that fear, because the fear comes from the unknown, is to give yourself some known. In other words, dig for some information about, talk to other people who've had that same situation or circumstance, read about it. Yeah. Increase your knowledge in that area, and the fear will disappear. A lot of the fear will disappear, that fear of the unknown that we have.
And one of the most wonderful things you can do is call a friend. And if you haven't done it, a lot of people aren't going to say, I have done this if they haven't. But you can say, this is my first time. I will get expert advice and I will succeed.
True.
That's another way of giving you some confidence that makes you maybe stay a little bit more balanced, because that would ring with your inner truth.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. That is absolutely spot on.
So tell me, give me an example of how this zero adversity that you work with has helped you.
Uh, in a myriad of ways. I use it on a daily basis.
You
In,
now, but in the beginning, go
yeah,
back.
in the beginning, I had I got a new career at 26. I was involved in a new career in an area that most people needed a college degree in order to participate in. It was in the financial industry. And I had had so much experience and had so much confidence that this particular company said, you know what, that's what we're looking for. You know, there's a lot of people with college degrees that don't have the skills that you have. However, when I got the job, I had a crisis of confidence because it was something that I had never done before.
There you go.
I had to build my business, and I needed to have ironclad belief in myself. And so, and on a daily basis, I faced this because here's the interesting thing. People understand is 30 years now, 30 plus years, I have had no paid vacation. I've had no paid sick leave. I've had no base salary
You're
for 30.
self-employed.
Yeah, exactly. But
Me
you know, like I said, it was such when I started out, it was my own efforts and belief in myself that that moved me forward. So zero adversity was born out of how to deal with coming home for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days and actually not making any money. For a lot of people, that would send them to the loony bin. You know, it's like they can't deal with the fact that they didn't make any money for 2 or 3 days. You have to develop a tremendous amount of faith in yourself and your abilities, and that's what I had to do. So even today, when I engage in my work, the fear of not making any money isn't there. You see, the fear of not being able to pay my bills at the end of the month is not there because I have built up this tremendous confidence in myself, and I use this process. I perceive the day that I didn't do anything. It's not people make this mistake of if
You
they
mean
didn't
that
make
you
any.
didn't earn anything? You did something, but you didn't earn funds that day.
Right. You planted seeds, you moved forward. This is the only thing I do on a daily basis now I've learned to plant seeds, positive seeds that can grow blossom into something wonderful. And that's my bar of success on a daily basis, whether it's creating a new relationship, whether it's making a new friend, whatever it is, that is what I derive tremendous joy from. And that's what drives my internal happiness and my success, inner and outer.
And I really have to ask you, do you have a meditation practice?
Yes, I do. On a daily basis, I do. Yeah.
I'm going to go to the Elizabeth Joyce side of this, Michael. I do not think that you can stay positive or stay in zero adversity unless you have a meditative practice. That's totally my belief system because the energy inside comes from the universe and it comes through you and flows through you and back out to do the good.
You're
So
absolutely right.
you need to go into the gas station and fill up your car, and you need to go into yourself and fill it up with that wonderful divine energy that we all use. And I know that that is why I objected to the book The Secret. They never once mentioned the divine. They never once mentioned that Earth is a training ground for something else that's greater than that, and that we can be supported in our goals when we do inner creative visualization and we do inner thanks and gratitude. Don't you agree?
I absolutely 150% agree with what you just said. It is amazing. Adversity, let's think about fear for a second. Somebody who's fearful about something, when they go into meditation, they go quiet. They're breathing. They breathe into meditation. And when they go quiet, what happens is that fear is driven out. It can subside. Okay, they allow themselves to have something positive come in, and that positive. I operate, by the way.
Wait! You create the void first.
That's true. Yes, you do create the void.
You have the darkness, you have the fear. You
Yes.
choose to release it. I am releasing all fear, all
Right.
subconscious and conscious fear. Then you breathe, then you meditate and bring in the light. And then there is something that you do not know, that knowing can change everything. That's from your
Oh, you're quoting
website.
Rumi again. You're quoting
Rumi,
Rumi
I
again.
love Rumi. I
I
know Rumi
love Rumi. My
very
favorite
well.
people, listen, I wake up to Rumi's quote, there's something I do not know, the knowing of which could change everything. That's how I operate my day. That is, I wake up with a sense of wonder as to who I'm going to meet, who's going to email me, who I'm going to cross paths with,
That's
that's going to
wonderful.
move me. Yeah, who am I going to help? Who's going to help me?
I have another Rumi quote that I use.
Good.
Share. Stay true to yourself, even when the circumstances may seem to be against you.
That's authenticity.
Well, that's
Rumi,
important to me because I had an identical twin. And it was 20 this, 20 that, you did it, she did it, who did it? So I use stay true to yourself even when the circumstances may seem to be against you.
Yeah. Basically, the title of my book it has the word authenticity in it. And you've just described what authenticity is. It's staying true to yourself, honesty, integrity, and
Honest,
knowing
trust, caring.
and trust, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I think that that's the benefit that is derived from not only practicing zero adversity and responding in positive ways to things and being able to let things go. And we've talked a lot um, about the concept of how meditation is really really important. I would not be where I am today on not only my spiritual level but all the 6 books that I've written. I would have written them without meditating.
Absolutely not.
It's my partner in life. There's it is the key.
Well,
And
I need you to tell us what your website is and
yeah,
how we can get your books.
my website is michaeljruss.com, and all of my books are available under Michael J. Russ on Amazon.com and Barnes and Noble.
And they
I
are
make audios.
on
I
the
have
website.
audio and written. They come in a printed book. Audio, I record all the audios of my book myself and produce them, and in an ebook form.
And you know that the media of audio is good because it's your own voice and it's your own inflections, and it's going to probably reach people more quickly and easily. Because some people don't sit down and read a book anymore, which is unfortunate, but they don't. They don't feel like they have the time, but they can throw that CD into the car and
Oh
listen to it
yes.
when they're driving.
You mean the Audio University?
The audios that you create for people to listen to.
Right. I call my car Audio University.
Oh, is that what you? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, you got to catch me
I
up.
call I call. Listen, it's the university on wheels. It helps. It builds. It can do a whole lot of things. Mainly, it can provide you with a platform for learning and a platform for lessening your adversity because you're not focused on something that might be irritating. You control your environment when you're listening to something positive in the car.
Well, it also gives you wonderful energy so that when you get out of the car, you might just bowl people over with such a positive energy.
Exactly. Whole
And
idea.
it's time to go into the break.
Yes.
And we are going to be back. And when we come back, we're going to talk with Michael a little bit more. This is Elizabeth Joyce with Let's Find Out. Thank you for listening, and make sure that you listen to my cosmic tip tonight. This is Elizabeth Joyce with your cosmic tip. The autumn equinox, the day of peace and relationships. This week brings us the fall equinox. The sun transits from Virgo into Libra, initiating autumn in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere. You might not even know it, but more than likely you'll feel it somewhere in your body, mind, or soul. This is one of 4 powerful days during the year, the equinox and solstice, celebrated by many different cultures and traditions in the past as well as the present. On Wednesday evening, September 21st to the 22nd, the Earth's orbit around the Sun brings the day and night in equal duration, which brings balance to the Earth. Balance and perfect harmony on the scales of the universe are the night and day, feminine and masculine, yin and yang, material and spiritual, compassion and judgment. It brings equal polarity, receptivity and reciprocity. The Earth is realigned at the fall and spring equinoxes. This is a solemn reminder that even the most opposing, contradicting forces can sign a peace treaty. If darkness and light can live in harmony, well, so can we. How incredibly intuitive and wise were these early stargazers of Babylon, because they assigned the sign of Libra, the sign of balance and equality, to the fall equinox, the rulership over marriage and relationships. I'm not sure if they truly realized or just stumbled upon a powerful truth. It may have been a universal download from the heavens. Relationships can only function within balance and equality. These early astrologers assigned the autumn equinox to the first day of Libra, the sign of justice. Libra is not only the sign of partnerships, but also of open enemies. Our enemies, as well as our partners, hold a clear mirror in front of us to reflect our part in the situation. And that is why we can both love and hate them so much. Right now, this week, is the perfect time to celebrate all of our partnerships and sign a peace treaty. This is the true Valentine's Day of the year, according to the astrology wheel. Let's compare Libra with the Kabbalah. According to the Talmud and the Kabbalah, Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, is celebrated on the new moon in Libra, which is September 24th, 25th this year. This was supposedly the day that God created Adam and Eve. This suggests that, mythologically speaking, humanity is indeed a double Libra. We as humans have to master relationships in order to graduate from this earth school by attaining enlightenment, or in other words, a great universal love. Astrologically, the ram's horn is the symbol of Aries, Libra's opposite and complementary sign. When we are experiencing a moon and sun in Libra, we need the Aries as a support beam, because Aries is the hot-tempered lone wolf or ram. Aries is the child of the zodiac who must learn and be trained to share, give, and trust others. The gospel, according to Libra, goes something like this. It is not the strong who survive, but the ones who form the strongest partnerships. Born as two, but functioning as one, that is what the masters bestowed by creating the magic of relationships. What one lacks, the other provides, thus creating balance. The fall equinox, as the initiator of Libra, is the time of year when we celebrate taking care of another and finding common ground. In this moment, within the zodiac wheel, it is easier to see God in everyone that we meet. Indeed, Libra is the sign of mirrors as well as the scales. And Libra's energy uses relationships to best reflect our inner true motives, feelings, and colors. Blindfolded Libra holds the scales in balance, distributing equal energy between the masculine part of the year, spring and summer, and the feminine, autumn and winter. The fall equinox energies are true to the Libra nature. Both are equal but opposite, learning and teaching. A true teacher learns when she brings forth knowledge, and a student teaches his mentors as he learns and grows. According to the union or marriage of astrology and the Kabbalah, in order for relationships to be successful, the patterns need to give as much as they receive, teach as much as they learn, and help in the same measure that they are helped. Otherwise, the bedroom becomes a therapy room, or worse. As mentioned earlier, the fall equinox is the day when daytime and nighttime are equal. As the nights grow longer until we reach the winter solstice, the Great Mother grows bigger in the northern hemisphere, as in her womb she carries the Savior God of light, who will be born in the winter solstice. That is Apollo, Artemis, Horus, Mandur, Attis, and the Lord Jesus Christ, to name a few. In ancient Greek mythology, the fall equinox is the day that, true to the alleged stipulation of her prenuptial agreement, Persephone must return to the underworld to join her husband Hades. Her mother, goddess of the earth, Demeter, must let her daughter die so that she can return to be queen of the realm of the dead. She mourns for her beloved daughter, and the trees, being her extension, shed their leaves to match her tears. Frozen in snow by her depression, no one worries. She will reunite with her daughter in the spring, when she will reincarnate, enabling nature to bud again. In the Chinese tradition, the 15th day of the 8th moon often coincides with the autumn equinox. This was celebrated with mooncakes as the festivities of harvest. In Wicca tradition, the equinox is celebrated by Moban, one of the 8 great pagan holidays. In Japan, it is called Haigan-e, a week-long celebration when people are encouraged to give offerings to the image of Buddha as well as to their ancestors. And in Middle-earth, at the Shire, on the equinox, both Bilbo and Frodo were born. This is what led to American Tolkien Society, as declared back in 1978, that Hobbit Day be celebrated on September 22nd, the fall equinox. How should we celebrate? In the ancient world, many cultures celebrated this auspicious day for an entire week. You can look at the fall equinox as your relationship day. We have Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthdays, Valentine's Day, anniversary days, but we don't have a relationships day that celebrates the people, past and present, who has shared in our life in one way or another. Remember 2 things. We call in our relationships with our aura energy, and all relationships benefit us and help our soul growth, whether they are positive or negative. They also help us reap our karma. We each participate 50% in all relationships, which is why it is best to freely take responsibility for your part or action within relationships. To blame others and not accept your part as your growth stunts your growth. So you will have to repeat that experience again until you learn the lesson. That is why people realign with the same character type, which I call the same energy in a different face. The autumn equinox is the perfect time to meditate on your partners, from your first love, usually a parent or a caretaker, to today. Find 3 reasons why you were brought together, and 3 reasons why it did not work. These relationships can include anyone, from your training buddy to your business partner, to you and your boss, to your hiking pal, etc. and etc. The fall equinox helps us reassess ourselves, relationship to relationship. It invites us to experience light and dark equally, good or bad, the positive as well as the negative, in every relationship we have ever had. The seen and unseen, the conscious and unconscious. In other words, the fall equinox is a great day for healing our significant relationships and reboot them with the new equinox energies of 2017, which indeed equals an upgrade. So, happy autumn for those above the equator, and happy spring to those below. Remember, as above is below. Wishing you love, peace, and harmony through this time of celebration. Now, let's get back to Let's Find Out. This is Elizabeth Joyce with Let's Find Out. I wanted to give you an awareness about my fall calendar because we have some wonderful opportunities for education and learning coming up. First of all, on Thursday night, September 29th, I begin my intuitive awareness classes, opening to your intuition and psychic sensitivity. These classes are 10 in length, and they happen on Thursday nights, and they happen in my home in the Doylestown, Pennsylvania area. So if you're listening and you'd like to have information, the number is 215-996-0646. On October 1st and 2nd, 2016, I am giving a fall spiritual intensive. These are intensives that I've been giving 4 times a year for the past 30 years. They are designed to help you open your heart and to open up your 5th dimension energies, to open up your 3rd eye and crown chakra to experience ascension while manifesting your soul's purpose. The time to begin is now. These workshops are based on seeding and nurturing the garden of your soul and the new spiritual chakras and how to work with them. The abundance charge for each day is $100 and both days is $180. For further information, you can go to the website new-visions.com and go under Calendar of Events. Everything is listed there for you. The third thing I'm doing is my first real Spiritual Chakras workshop. This is an introduction class as well as an experiential class. The weekend is October 8th and 9th, 2016 in Newtown, Pennsylvania. I am working at Solutions with Honey, and we are going to have a class. The Saturday class, October 8th, introduces you to the new spiritual chakras one by one. And the Sunday class, October 9th, is the meditation class. Through deep meditation, you will begin the journey and open your first spiritual chakra, the 8th chakra. This is very exciting, very thrilling, and very, very new. So we will all be working on them together. And it promises to be a heartwarming, growing, and wonderful spiritual experience. I will also be giving readings and lecturing at the Psychic Fair on the weekend of October 22nd and 23rd at the Firehouse in New Hope, Pennsylvania. And for further information, you can check my website. The next date that I have booked is Saturday and Sunday, November 5th and 6th. This is my twice-a-year fall psychic fair, and it's always done for charity. This is where we have the community come together. We have psychics from the New Jersey and Pennsylvania area. We have wonderful vendors, and we also have body workers, people that are working on your energy to help you feel terrific. You can create your own spa day with body work, having a reading, and hearing a lecture at your own convenience. Bring a friend. It's fun. We will have lectures every hour, and this particular fair benefits the Bucks County Veteran Services on the 5th and the Breathing Room Foundation on the 6th. The Breathing Room Foundation is an organization helping to support families that have children with cancer. It's a wonderful, wonderful charity. So that's it for now. I hope that you will think about having these workshops. Again, you can go to the website new-visions.com, or you can give me a call on the 24-hour answering service, and that is 201-934-8986. Thank you for listening to Let's Find Out. This is Elizabeth Joyce with Let's Find Out. Next week, September 25th, our guest will be Mark Dodich, famed astrologer from Portland, Oregon. Mark has been with us many times before, and he's just returned from his wonderful African safari spiritual trip with many of his students. We will be discussing the fall equinox, which of course is happening this Wednesday, as well as its effects on everyone during this celebration time. We'll also be discussing what's coming with the election in November. So don't miss it. Tune in to Let's Find Out Sunday night, September 25th at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. You will be able to call in and ask Mark a question. I'm looking forward to the show. I really like it when our listeners can call in and ask their questions. What we'll need is your first name, birth date, and one focus question. Again, Elizabeth Joyce with Let's Find Out. Tune in next week for me and Mark Dodich. We'll be there, and I hope you will be too.
You're listening to Let's Find Out on bbsradio.com. Station 2. If Internet radio has a name, it's BBS Radio, the #1 live Internet radio talk show on the planet. It's Let's Find Out. and honored guests come every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. If you'd like to call in and ask a question, dial 888-429-5471. Again, that's 888-429-5471 in the U.S. and Canada. If you're just tuning in and would like to hear this show in its entirety tomorrow, you can download it at the archive link at bbsradio.com. Remember, if it's not mainstream, it's BBS Radio. So now, let's find out with host Elizabeth Joyce.
Passing by, Buddha, who is ready to die or be free. Buddha, with an open palm, Buddha, living 1,000 songs, Buddha has me upside down in his tree. Buddha, in the wind becoming calm, Buddha saw me falling to the ground. Buddha, oh, I've waited so long to be free.
This is Elizabeth Joyce with Let's Find Out, and that was William Vitalis with his composition, Buddha. And I love that song, and I dedicate it to you, Michael, because this song, to me, describes your work and what happens when somebody follows your wonderful guide. So why don't you come on back in and tell us what we can do to create our clarity, our efficiency, our life purpose.
Awesome. The first thing that you can do, and I think is probably one of the most important things you can do, is not only believe, but act on the principle of ultimate responsibility. Ultimate responsibility. So many people don't draw the connection between what's happening in their lives and how they're responsible for those things occurring through their inner conversation, their self-talk, through choices that they've made in their life. You have to come to a point of accepting your part in what is happening in your life at this particular point before you can move forward. And it also, accepting responsibility for what happens in your life alleviates a lot of adversity, a lot of it, in the form of fear and blame, anger, resentment, bitterness. These are things, concern. These are things that feelings and emotions, negative feelings and emotions that people feel when they wake up till the moment they go to bed. They experience some form of these negative feelings and emotions. And it's so important to accept responsibility. I'll give you an example. And I was taught this about 30 years ago by a gentleman in Florida. And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "I'm talking about ultimate responsibility, Michael. I'm talking about," and I I actually did use this when I was on the way. I was on the way to Europe. I was driving to San Francisco Airport. I was leaving Sacramento, where I was living at the time. I was making a turn to get on a freeway. The gentleman in front of me suddenly stopped. I ran into the back of this gentleman because I was looking left, and I had assumed that he had made that right turn at a yield. He hadn't. He stopped all of a sudden, and it was. And I think my time with him was about a minute, if not 45 seconds. I said, "I'm on my way to San Francisco. Here's my insurance company. Here's the number. Here's my number. Thank you very much. Give them a call. They'll take care of everything. And I'll give them a call on the way and let them know what I did. And have a great day." And that was the last I heard of it. I made a phone call to the insurance company, told them it was my fault, what had happened, and I'm on my way. I didn't sit and blame him because I thought he should have turned right when when he didn't. He should have gone. I didn't waste any time on that. You
Did
don't
you make
waste time
your
on
plane?
that. Pardon?
Did you make your plane?
I did make my plane. Yes.
Now, some people do waste time on things like that, Michael, only because of something called money. Money does strange things to people, but it's wonderful when you can take command and own your part in it, because after all, you were 50% responsible. We're always 50% responsible in any relationship. By the way, my cosmic tip tonight was about the equinox, the autumn equinox, which is the law, brings us the law of balance. And it's funny that the equinox is always in the sign of Libra, which of course is the balancing scales, not only legally, but justice preserves. And when you own your part in it, justice always preserves. It really does. If you start to lie or evade it or I didn't do it, then you run into problems and you set up karma.
It's true. I've learned that through many years that it is much more important to be honest, and I'm not talking brutally honest where you actually cause pain to another individual's feelings. I think you can be honest and you can be diplomatic in being honest when you need to express the way you feel about things that are happening in your life, that people maybe perhaps the way someone's acting, because you don't have any control. This is the other thing too. We have no control. Ultimate responsibility is one thing. We have no control over people's thoughts, words, or actions. We do not control other people or their will.
But
and
remember that when you see them act adversely, there's always a reason. And if you're perceptive enough to see the reason, that would also bring you more balance.
That is correct. But in many cases, people are so hung up on what happened that, and it's true. I agree with you 110%. There is when somebody does something that you think, if you feel like you've been wronged or somebody made a comment or whatever, generally we're not privy to the underlying reasoning behind it, or that something else might have happened to them somewhere along the lines in their life where they are just simply reacting or lashing out because they feel the same sort of thing happened. We don't know that. We have no idea what is going on in this other person's mind. And the point I'm making is that a lot of times people spend they spend time trying to control others,
right,
in some way. And if you give up that control and you just work on yourself, you can manage yourself. And
I call it not participating.
Pardon?
You don't participate in the control. Like if somebody said, "You ran into me, you're a rat, you're a lousy driver, la 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 la," I will say, "Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts." Exactly.
Yeah, you don't participate in that. That's correct.
Right.
Yeah, I just had to get your context right, but you're absolutely right. You don't participate. You don't participate in that. And I find that most of the time when people are at work, if they're unhappy at work, it's because of other people doing things. And I said, you're focusing on the fact that somebody else is doing something you cannot control. But what at work can you actually control? What can you control at work? You control your thoughts, words, and actions. What actions can you control of yours at work? Do you love your work? Does your work depend on somebody else? Does your life depend on somebody else doing something? Because a lot of times... Something else I've added to that, if you don't mind. Good. You're working for a company or whoever you're working for, and you owe them your support. So not only is there something that you can control, but is there something how you can show your company that you support them? Correct. Yeah, that's true. And you can do that. At the end of the night, we are getting to the end of the hour, and it's time to sign off. It's been wonderful. This has been a fabulous conversation and very growthful conversation. Again, I'd like you to give the audience your website and your books. MichaelJRuss.com is my website. That's also my Twitter handle, at Michael J. Russ. They can go to check out all of my books on my website, michaeljruss.com, Amazon.com as well for Michael J. Russ. All my books will show up: Zero Adversity, Design Your Life, Powerful Self-Talk, other books I've got for college students. It's been a pleasure being on your show. You are an amazing woman. Thank you. Well, thank you, Michael. And I'm going to tell people to get that Powerful Self-Talk book, because I think that one rang true for me. So
Thank you for coming, Michael. We'll have you on again, and maybe you can answer some questions as people call in. I've
That'd be
really
wonderful.
appreciated your time. Thank
I
you.
love it. Thank you so much.
This is Elizabeth Joyce with Let's Find Out. Next week, we have Mark Dodich coming in. And of course, Mark is our astrologer, and he's going to be telling what's going on with the equinox and the solstice. I'm excited about it. Don't forget, we'll need your first name and birth date. Again, Elizabeth, we're going into our meditation now. This is the Garden of Life meditation. The thoughts we think and the words we speak are constantly shaping our world and our experiences. Many of us are in the old habit of negative thinking, and we do not realize the damage that we have inflicted upon ourselves. However, we are never stuck because we can always change our thinking. As we learn to consistently choose positive thoughts, the old negative ones dissolve away. So sit with both feet flat on the floor and allow these messages and affirmations to penetrate within you. Your subconscious mind will pick up the ones that are important to you at the moment. These concepts are like fertilizing the soil of your mind. As you absorb them by repetition, you are slowly enriching the very basis of your garden of life. So as we go through these affirmations, as you allow them to come into your consciousness, know that you are planting seeds of positive thinking into your garden of life. I release the past with ease, and I trust the process of life. I close the door on old hurts, and I forgive everyone, myself included. I visualize a stream in front of me. I take all those old experiences, old hurts, and old pains, and I put them all on this stream and watch them begin to dissolve and drift downstream until they totally dissipate and disappear. I am free, and everyone in my past is free. I am ready to move forward and to new adventures that await me. Lifetimes come and go, but I am always eternal. I am alive and vital, no matter which plane of action I am existing on. Love surrounds me. Love surrounds me now, and love surrounds me in the future. Love surrounds me forever. My willingness to forgive begins my healing process. I allow the love from my own heart to wash through me, cleansing and healing every part of my body. I know I am healing. Forgiveness of myself and others release me from the past. Forgiveness is the answer for almost every problem. Forgiveness is a gift to myself. I forgive, and in doing that, I set myself free. I free myself and everyone in my life from the old past hurts. They are free now, and I am free now to move forward into new, glorious, fabulous experiences. I cross the bridge with joy and ease. The old unfolds into wonderful new experiences. And you know, my life gets better and better all the time. I am willing to release old negative beliefs. They are only thoughts, and thoughts stand in my way. New thoughts are positive and fulfilling. I release all the things from my past that cloud my vision. I see the perfection in all of life. I willingly forgive. I breathe love into my vision. I see with compassion and understanding. My clear insight is reflected in my outer sight. I breathe in the fullness and richness of life. Take a deep breath and breathe in the fullness and richness of life. Take a deep breath and breathe in the aromatherapy of spring, all of the flowers blooming, and the wonderful, glorious sights of the brilliant colors. Take a deep breath and observe your life with joy, abundantly supporting me. Life supports me with more good than I can imagine. I am guided throughout this day in making right choices. Divine intelligence and my blessed higher self continuously guide me in the realization of my goals, and I am safe. I am safe. It's only change. I break free and think wonderful thoughts. I move past my limitations into freedom. I now become all that I am created to be. I am that. I am love.
I am growing in full bloom in my garden of wisdom. And so it is.